Hey folks, it's the last episode of the month, and that means it's time for our fantasy character build out. And this one's going to be two squeezed into one body because this week on Dragons and Dice, we're going to build Harvey Two-Face Dent as a D&D character. Let's check him out. Welcome to Dragons and Dice. So, first thing, I need to give a shout out to my wonderful wife, Emmy. She was the brainchild behind this creation of putting two characters in one body and then having to flip a coin to see which one you get to play at different circumstances during the game. And I just absolutely love the roleplay potential that this is going to have. And I'm so jazzed about the build just for that fact. It's maybe one of my favorite ideas for a character to date. And so the way the character this is going to be structured is I'm going to build one for each side of Two-Face. One will be chaotic evil, and that'll be the acid drenched, like scarred side, and the other one will be a lawful good. And we're just going to draw that line in the sand. Two farthest alignments, so that whoever's playing this character can experience like the most dichotomy of role play possible in a D&D game, because they're just going to have to bounce back and forth. Mechanically in my game, the way this is going to work is you're going to flip a coin, and it's going to be heads, you keep your head, and tails, well, we know how that goes. You'll be playing the evil side. And I'm going to make the player who's playing this character make a roll. Each time you wake up, you'll see who woke up. If you're playing the lawful good character or the chaotic evil character. And when you roll initiative, you'll reflip your coin. And then anytime something big and crucial decision has to be made, Harvey would flip a coin. He wouldn't just decide. And so that'll decide who you're playing for the rest of that little social encounter or whatever. And I just love the chaos that this is going to add to your table, because there are going to be times in town where should we steal that scepter from the king? And boom, you flip that coin and you end up on the side that's saying, yeah, let's do the bad thing. You may turn around and turn out to be good and, sell it and give it to an orphanage. Who knows what you're going to do with that. But it is going to interject a lot of just absolute chaos into your campaign. So DM note, if you're going to be able to allow a character to play something like this where they're like chaotic evil at one time, you best be prepared for that and be good on the fly, because it's going to throw wrenches into all kinds of storyline. But I kind of like chaos at the table, especially if you're doing something like a 1 or 2 shot like high end, and it's not that big a deal for like a full campaign being kibosh because this guy went chaotic evil and killed one of your main NPCs, or picked a fight that the party couldn't win, and we went TPK on that. So something to keep in mind if you're going to let someone play one of these. I love the role play capability of it, but just make sure you keep it within the guidelines of what's good at your table. And like I said, this is more of a 1-shot, like 2-shot, long shot kind of character than a full campaign, I think. So all that being said, that's kind of like my idea of how I would like the character to play out mechanically. And let's hop in and do the build and check out all the things that are going on. So a few things about the build, and I'm going to keep a couple of things the same on both sides because you can't really change your background, and Harvey didn't really come Two-Face until later in life. So I feel like his species, his background, and his starting stats should be the same. So we're going to mechanically build two characters using the same background, same species, same starting stats, and then let them split after that. So it's going to be kind of a fun build, as we've got to kind of flatten out some stuff to get our two different fills that we're going to be going for. The two builds that I'm going to do is Two-Face is going to be kind of the mob boss side of things. And he's going to be a rogue fighter combo, and he's going to have all the like nefarious things. He's going to be using pistols and Tommy guns, doing all the evil stuff that a crime boss does. And then for the Harvey Dent side of it, I wanted him to be kind of like a non-lethal fighter, because one thing about Harvey Dent Two-Face is he's kind of like a stocky buff dude, and like he was always in good shape even before all the bad stuff happened to him. And I thought the best way to have the lawful good side not be killing people was to go unarmed fighting, because it's really thematic to just knock somebody out with some punches. And so he is going to be an unarmed fighter after we get our start off. Let's kick off the build with our species, and there is one that just lends itself to duality so well, and I think that's going to be the Asimar. And it's just going to really let us play into that, two sides of a coin. Because what I'm going to do with this, there's going to be a caveat that if I flip heads and I'm playing the good character, I can only use my Inner Radiance ability from the ASMR, so I shine with light and can do the healing abilities. And then if I flip the bad side, I will use Necrotic Shroud to kind of give that evil, scary feel of like the Two-Face side of Harvey Dent. And one thing to kind of keep us grounded in the lore, I'm never going to use the Heavenly Wings. Get it? We're grounded, so we can't use them. Ha. Because Harvey doesn't really have any kind of like true magical or superhero powers. And so it just doesn't really make sense for him to start being able to fly when he's level 3. So that's going to be something I'm just going to scratch off and kind of give ourselves a little nerf to keep us with the lore of Harvey Dent. Now for the background, I'm going to do a custom one because, I just want to make like an attorney background and get the stats that I want to kind of make this work, because we're a little under the gun when it comes to, needing stats everywhere to get the feel right and to be able to build 2 characters using the same stat block off the start. So what I'm going to do is make the attorney background, and we're going to get 2 skills with this and a language. And for the skills, I'm going to take intimidation and persuasion, as they fit right in with like he's a pit bull in the courtroom and like intimidating the witnesses and the people there. And persuasion for the same thing, because sometimes, you catch more bees with honey than vinegar. So it really will play into that like good feel of he was an attorney starting off. And then I also want to take the Lucky Feat, and this just fits right in, the Batman Begins style series where, he makes his own luck and he's got his 2-headed coin. I think Lucky kind of plays in with that feel. And then I'm going to go with +1 to 3 stats, which is kind of a strange one. I don't know I've ever used +1 to 3, but we're going to go Strength, Dex, and Charisma. If you're building this and your DM won't let you do the custom, you could do the Entertainer feat. It has those same 3 stats, and it also, has the Lucky feat. It just doesn't give out the Intimidation and Persuasion abilities that I really wanted starting off for the fill. So we're going to go standard array for our stats, and I'm going to go 14 Strength +1 for a 15. I'm going to go 13 Dex +1 for a 14. 12 Con, 10 Intelligence, 8 Wisdom, and then a 15 Charisma +1 for a 16. And like I said, we aren't going to be optimized, but I feel like Charisma starting out early in Harvey Dent's career should be his highest stat, and it's going to make for a really interesting build with the rogue side has so many abilities, and then we get this charisma boost to it, and then the fighter side, we're still going to have a nice charisma stat that's going to let us be really social, because the feel I wanted for this character was to be really good in and out of town, like dealing with people and interactions, because that's where the like real joy of playing 2 characters at once comes from. So I like having that big charisma stat off the start. And for our starting class, and I think honestly like the starting class should be shared too, so we're going to take the same starting class and abilities up to level 3 when we get our first subclass, and then that's when we're going to split. And so as a prosecuting attorney, I think we'll start out as a bard. But instead of music, we're going to be a great orator, and we're going to give out amazing opening and closing statements, be interrogating those witnesses, and I feel like the bard just really plays into that. We already have persuasion and intimidation from our background, so we're going to grab insight. Now we know if those people are lying. We're going to grab investigation so that we can help find all those clues, and then we'll give performance, because that's really kind of what a closing statement is. It's a big performance to get the jury on our side. And starting out as a bard, we do get spells, but I don't really want Harvey Dent Two-Face to be relying on spells. So I want to grab a few that don't step on the feel of the character and help with the flavor. And so I'm going to take Vicious Mockery. I love this one as an option for either build. We can talk trash if we're the bad guy, or we can berate a witness if we're good. I'm going to take True Strike, as it'll let us use our Charisma starting off, and it's a cantrip and doesn't come across as magic for the table because it's still just a melee attack. And then for the first level spell, I think I'm going to take Charm Person, and I'm going to flavor this as like we've just made such a good argument that we've convinced someone to change their ways. And then take Command, it's the same type of thing. And then take Dissonant Whispers. I'm going for the flavor of that we are using our words to get our point across, and that's kind of the spells we take. And then probably for the last one, I'll grab Heroism, as it kind of shows how strong our resolve is in the face of danger. i.e. mob threats, or, if we're the good guy, or before the bad stuff happens to us, or if Batman comes after us, we've got that heroism to keep us kind of bolstered and going good. At level 2, we're still a bard for both sides, and we get 2 expertise. I'm going to take Insight and Intimidation, and we get that awesome Jack of all trades feature that's going to let us put half of our proficiency bonus into any skill that we don't have. And we also get one more spell. I think I'll grab Bane. It's good both in-game mechanically and for the flavor of our build, in that after we get all scarred up, people are kind of scared to go against us, whether we're in the courtroom or whether, we're actually two-face mob boss type guy. Level 3, we're going to be a Bard 3 on both sides, and we get our subclass, and we will be going Lord Bard. And we get 3 more proficiencies, and we get Cutting Words. And this is going to let us use our Bardic Inspiration dice to reduce a damage roll, an attack roll, or an ability roll by the number that we roll on that Bardic dice. I just think this is like our outstanding rebuttal to an argument, and it plays right in with the feel. With the other 3 proficiencies that we get, let's grab up a few that'll work for both sides of the coin. We'll take Deception. We'll go ahead and take Perception. And since we're always flipping our coin and making it like kind of dance across our fingers, let's go ahead and take Sleight of Hand. We also get a second level spell here. I'm going to grab Zone of Truth. It seems on point since we haven't went evil yet that we would have that. If you wanted something that was a little more metagame and optimized, you could take Aid instead. That, would also work, as we have a good, robust constitution. So now it's time for us to split and go down 2 different sides. So for the good side, we're going to go fighter, like I said earlier. And for the bad side, we're going to go rogue fighter multi-class combo. And we'll just do this level by level and see where that takes us. Okay, good guy up first. At level 4, we're going to be a fighter 1. And we're going to get a fighting style. And we'll go with unarmed fighting. And now we can add our strength mod to our unarmored attacks. And if we aren't holding any weapons or shields in our hands, which we won't be, we can do a D8 of damage. And I just like the real brawler feel that this is going to give the good side of Harvey Dent after the accident. And like I said earlier, I like the flavor of the good guy punching instead of shooting people. It's really easy to have non-lethal damage feel right that way. We do get a bunch of weapon masteries here, and I would go ahead and take the weapons that the other guy will be using, just because, just because he's playing the good guy that day doesn't mean he put away his pistols or his Tommy gun. So the 3 I'm going to take is the revolver, the automatic rifle, and then I'm going to take the great club, and I'm going to kind of flavor that like it's a baseball bat if we were using it. And for the bad guy side, we're going to go straight to rogue, and to get it started, we get another skill here, and we're going to take athletic, and we get a couple of proficiency or expertise, and I'm going to grab intimidation and perception, and we also get a couple of weapon masteries, and we only get 2 starting out here. And since this is going to be more of a range character, I'm going to grab my revolver and the automatic rifle starting off. The automatic rifle, I'm going to flavor that to be a Tommy gun. That also gives us the Vex and slow properties respectively. Those are both pretty good. And then at level 5, on the good side, we'll be a fighter 2. And we get all those level 2 fighter goodies, action surge, woohoo. And then on the bad side, we're rogue, and we get cunning action, which is also woohoo, because that ability is amazing. At level 6, on the good side, we're a fighter 3, and we get a subclass. And since Harvey is a really fit dude with a high pain tolerance, I feel like the most fitting subclass for the lawful good guy is going to be just go champion. And with this, we get improved critical, and we get advantage in our strength athletics checks, which is going to come in really nicely for the build that we're doing. And then on the bad side, we're a rogue 3, and we are going to be going assassin for our rogue subclass. We get that extra initiative advantage, and we get to add our rogue levels to our sneak attack damage now, and it just kind of is going to play in with the dirty mobster feel for the evil side. Level 7, we're fighter 4 on the good side, and we get a feat and a weapon mastery. I'll go ahead and grab a pistol just, as we want. But the feat that we're going to be taking is the grappler feat, and we're going to boost our strength by 1 to 16. So now we can punch and grab on the same attack, and we get advantages on attacks against grappled creatures. And with our champion ability, we have advantage on strength athletic checks. So this is going to play in really nicely for us to be able to run in, punch someone, grab them up, and then them not be able to get away from us. And then we have advantage as we sit there and pummel them. On the bad side, we're a rogue 4. And for our feat that we get here, I'm going to take Sharpshooter and boost our dex. And now we bypass 3/4 cover and we can shoot in melee range. And we don't have disadvantage on our long range shots, which is going to be a good feel because now we can be shooting those pistols without it feeling like, oh man, we're only 45 feet away, we can't hit because they're disadvantaged. And at one point, we're going to be using 2 of those things, which mechanically will be firing one, pocketing it, pulling out the other one because we're not going to be 2-weapon fighting. It's just got a really good feel for the sharpshooter since we're going to be a pistol user. Level 8 on the good side, we're a fighter 5 and we get extra attack and tactical shift. And on the evil side, we're a rogue 5 and we get cunning strike and uncanny dodge. And yeah, our dex is low right now on this side, so we'll probably be using true strike up to this point, but we're going to start boosting that up pretty quickly, which our charisma is not bad, so that's not too big a deal for us over here. When we hit level 9, on the good side, we're fighter 6, and I really like the flavor of when we're good and we're out there on the front lines protecting people. And so I'm going to grab up the Sentinel feat. And I love this ability with the grappler feat because we can only punch and grab 1 time per turn. But now we can do that on our turn. And then if we get to make an extra attack from Sentinel with our reaction, it's now on someone else's turn and we can do that again. And the way grappling and unarmed strike rules work is, we can grab up 2 people and then be throwing headbutts and knees into them with advantage. And it also is going to reduce their speed to 0 when we get that Sentinel attack. Just get to just pummel people, grab them up. We're attacking with advantage. They can't get away. They don't have speed. And we get to boost our strength with this feat also. Level 9 on the evil side, we're going to make a jump over to fighter. And this is just going to make us better at shooting stuff because we're going to stay here until we get extra attack. But now for fighter 1, we're going to get a fighting style. And I'm going to take archery so that our ranged weapons get better. And then we get a bunch of weapon masteries. So maybe grab the great club. Maybe grab a quarterstaff and you can flavor it like it's a cane. And just whichever one you want to use. I will say one note, if you're going to play a character like this, but you're going to play it in like a low-tech, non-weapon ability, like no guns type area, there are other options with this. You could go with hand crossbows instead of pistols. And if you were doing that, I would probably take the 2-weapon fighting here and then take the crossbow master feat instead of the sharpshooter previously. But that'll kind of let you transition this character on the evil side that's using pistols and rifles into using crossbows, longbows, hand crossbows, that type of stuff, so that you can still play in your high fantasy setting. Level 10 on the good side, we're fighter 7, and we get an extra fighting style here. And we can grab defense so that it gives us an extra armor to our armor class, or we can grab archery so that if we decide to use our guns, we're a bit better hitting with those. I would go with defense because I kind of want the good side of Harvey Dent to be kind of the tanky, getting out there in the mix, trying to protect the allies, pummeling people with our fists and headbutts. And I want the evil side guy to be the one that's the sneaky shooter, damaging type guy. So I'm going to grab defensive for that. On the evil side, we're a fighter 2, and we get all those same fighter 2 goodies. At level 11, on the good side, we'll be a fighter 8. And man, fighter from levels 5 to 8, little sidebar here, are just amazing. We get extra attack, we get a feat, we get a subclass feature, and then you get another feat. That has to be 4 of the best levels of any class in D&D. It's just nuts how loaded 5 through 8 is for fighters. But for our feat, we're going to grab one of my favorites, and that's going to be Mage Slayer, and we can boost our strength again with this, and that's going to put us up to 18. And it'll just be awesome at breaking concentration on people now as we get in the mix. And then it also gives us the ability to shrug off an intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. If we were to fail a spell save on one of those, we can just pass 1 time per long rest, which is a really nice ability, especially for someone who has kind of low wisdom and intelligence stats. On the bad side, we'll be a fighter 3, and we get a subclass. And for this one, I'm going Psy Warrior, which seems weird for a character with a flat intelligence stat. But here's my thinking on it. We won't be staying fighter long, and this is the only subclass feature we're going to get from it. And the ability I think that it gives you starting off fits the both with the evil side of Two-Face. We get those 4 side die that start off at a D6. They'll be a D8 by the time we leave fighter. But for now, we can use our reaction to roll a dice and reduce the damage by that roll plus our intelligence mod minimum of 1. So that'll be a 1 for us. And we can also do the same things on attacks if we want to. We can bolster our damage with it. We could also teleport, but this is kind of going to be like the fly ability. I would just drop that and never use it. And so I kind of like the way the Psy Warrior plays into, like, we're like, oh, that hurt, but we're able to shrug it off because we've endured a lot of pain and, like, we're mentally a little messed up, but we're also, like, tough when it comes to dealing with bad situations. Level 12 on the good side, we're going to be Fighter 9, and this gets us Indomitable. And same thing as we were just talking about, I would have this flavored as it's a way of us just shrugging off pain, like we got hit with that full fireball, but we used Indomitable, and now we only took half as much damage. And then on the evil side, we're Fighter 4, and that means it's time for a feat. And I want us to kind of be tanky as a shooter, and so it fits with the feel that we're going for here too. And I am going to take Medium Armor Master. And I would have Harvey always be in a suit, 2-piece, black pinstripe on one, white on the other. And I would just have that be the flavor of whatever armor you were wearing. And it would be, heavy armor on the fighter side and, medium armor on the other side. You'd have to have a little bit of liberties with your DM, like allowing that. Maybe, he's got Teflon lining he puts in the suit when he's, wearing plate or whatever. That's something to work out with the person running your table. At my table, I would have no problem if somebody wanted to play this to flavor that up all day long just for how much fun it is. At level 13, on the good side, we're a Fighter 10, and we are a Heroic Warrior now. And we get Heroic Inspiration every turn if we start a turn without it. This mixed with our Cutting Word ability is almost going to guarantee that we can punch somebody, grab somebody, grapple them up, and just, lock them down because we can reduce their rolls with our Cutting Words, and we can boost ours and give ourselves, a reroll of any D20 we want every single turn now, and it just feels really good that we're going to be able to always do our thing that we're doing on the good side. On the tail side of the coin, we are a Fighter 5, and this is why we went there. We get that extra attack. Now we can shoot our revolvers twice a turn. Hence, shoot one, put one away, shoot another one. At level 14, we're a Fighter 11, and now we get 3 attacks, and so it's punch, punch, punch time, which is, who doesn't love 3 attacks? It's amazing. And on the bad side, this is where we kind of have a little bit of a choice. There's a fighter feat that's right here for us, and it won't cost us anything to get it. Otherwise, we would be getting Rogue 12 at level 20, and that would also get us a feat. So we can either take a feat now or take a feat right at the end. And I think I would just like to go ahead and take the feat now, as it won't affect our sneak attack dice, and it lets us get that feat earlier. And what we're going to do with that Fighter 6 level right now is just boost our dex up to 18. At level 15, on the good side, we're going Fighter 12. I mean, it's fun doing these builds like this because you just get to pick out so many feats going up Fighter on both sides. But now we get another one. And I feel like we need to boost our HP to kind of show how durable Harvey Dent is. And I'm just going to grab up the straight tough feat. That'll give us 30 extra HP at this level and 40 by the time we finish the build. Always great to have on a tanky character. And at level 15, the evil side is going back to Rogue, and we get another round of expertise. I'll grab Deception, as that goes right along with our Nefarious Deeds, and then Persuasion for the same way, same reasons. At level 16, on the good side, our fighter is now 13, and if we attack and miss, we have advantage on the next attack. This shouldn't be too big a deal for us, like I said, with our Cutting Words and all the abilities we have to give ourselves advantage through grappling. I just don't think this is going to be that big a feature for us, but we get it if it comes up. If you were to, sometimes you roll a 1 and a 2 on your advantage rolls, and Reroll one of them for another 2, and now you've got this that you'll have advantage for free on the next one. On the bad side, we're going to be Rogue 7, and we get Evasion and Reliable Talent. I will make a little note here. Depending on where you are going to like start the campaign, there could be an argument made for making a beeline to this ability just for how good Evasion and Reliable Talent is. That you went, Bard 3 starting off, straight 7 levels of Rogue, then took your 6 levels of Fighter. That would be more if you were playing it out all the way. I'm doing it as a full level 20 build for a one-shot, long shot. So that's the path I went. If you were going to play this out in a campaign, you might beeline for those 2 abilities in Rogue 7 because of how good they are. At level 17, we're a Fighter 14, and we get a feat. I'm going to cap our strength out here. And on the other side, we also get a feat from Rogue 8. And let's max our dex out there. So feeling pretty good about that. At level 18, we're a Fighter 15 for the good side. And now we get an even bigger crit rate, 18 to 20, 15% crit. And with us having advantage on almost every attack, oh mammy, we're going to be punching some people's lights out on the good side. On the dark side, we're a Rogue 9, and we get our second subclass feature, and it's called Infiltration Expertise. We can mimic people perfectly if we've heard them now. That's not really that big for us, but the feature that is really nice for us is we can use our steady aim without reducing our speed, so we can guarantee that we always have advantage on our ranged attacks, even if someone's not there and people can see us. So that's muy bueno for a rogue, especially if you're playing a ranged rogue. At level 19, we are a Fighter 16, and this is going to be Epic Boon time. And I am taking the same one for each side here because I feel like it just kind of fits tying everything back together, that there are some things that you kind of share since you're the same person with 2 different personalities. And the one we're taking here is going to be the Boon of Fate. And now when a creature that we can see or us fails or succeeds a d20 roll, we can roll 2d4 and apply that as a plus or as a minus. I feel like this just really plays in with our lucky ability, all the advantages we have, the duality of like we can either add or subtract, and it's got a good Harvey Dent feel of we're making our own luck still and using that to manipulate the world around us. And at level 19 on the evil side, we're a Rogue 10, and we get that nice little extra rogue feat just in time for Epic Boon. And as I just said, it's the same one. We are going to use this ability. We get 1 stat point increase on this side to bump it to our wisdom to 9 just to help out when we get our level 20 feature. And on the good side, we're all flat on the good side at level 19. Just bump strength. You might get another stat point somewhere else later, and, you got an extra 22. So level 20, on the good side, we're going to finish out Fighter, and we're Fighter 17, and we get a second use of our Action Surge and a third use of our Indomitable. I also forgot to mention, at Fighter 13, we got a second use. So now we have 3 Indomitables to use at this point. And on the evil side, we could get there's a couple options here. We could get a subclass feature from the Psy Warrior, but the flavor on it would be way off. It just wouldn't really fit with the feel of Harvey Dent. I do think that the best thing that we could do, if we go rogue, we get an extra 1d6 of sneak attack damage, or we could go bard, and we could take inspiring leader with a feat, and that's the route I'm going to go. And that's why we took that boost to wisdom that was an 8, and so now our wisdom's like a flat 10, but we have inspiring leader ability, and now I feel like the evil side of Harvey Dent's always got a bunch of henchmen around him, and him being an inspiring leader will let him like bolster their defenses and boost their HP up, and I feel like it fits in really well with the Two-Face feel. All right, let's check out what combat would look like for both sides of us. The good guy would just be running in, using heroic inspiration if he was to miss on his first attack, or his cutting words to make sure that it hit, and then grappling that guy and, Also, if they pass their grapple check and you didn't use cutting words, using those abilities so that you get your first punch off and you get that guy grappled. And then we also have that epic boon that could come in. There's almost no way we miss on that first attack if we don't want to. And so then we whack that guy in the head, and then we punch him 8 more times as we can action surge twice. And that's going to be 98 plus 45 from our strength mod. And we should hit on almost all those attacks with their abilities that we have. And with a 15% crit rate, statistically, we should crit probably twice, a little over twice through those rounds. I mean, we just rolled 18 die on the first round. And on average, we would do 95 damage in that round. The next round would be a big drop off. We would do 3d8s plus 15 plus 1d4 from the guy that we're grappling at the start of their turn. And that's 31 average. That's not that great. And from there on, we would just do the same thing. We have that great crit rate. So we would probably be doing a little more than that on average per round, but it would just be steady 3 attacks, people grappled, using sentinel attacks. And it's really not that big of damage for a level 20 character. There's tons of people hit way harder than that, but it's super sustainable. We have amazing skills too, which is really interesting to put on a fighter because most of the time fighters are kind of like limited to only being decent in battle. But here we are, we've got a good charisma. We have like all that nice flavor for being in and out of town, doing our coin flips to see which side we're playing on. And, still doing pretty decent damage when we need to, pop both action surges and do a whole bunch of attacks. It kind of stinks that we have such a terrible wisdom save. But, Harvey's kind of like a little messed up in the head. It's kind of okay that you have that. It kind of fits with the flavor. I think it's better for the stats to reflect the feel than to just be optimized. On the other side, let's see what that guy's combat looked like. If we're on the evil one, we're going to come in, we're going to do 2 attacks with plus 7 for our dex with our pistols. So that's going to be 48 plus 14. And we can throw on a psionic strike with that for another d8. And then we will do our sneak attack damage for 5d6. And we'll do an action surge for 2 more attacks, which will be 4d8 plus 14. And that's going to come out to be an average of 84. Because we get to add on that first, if they haven't taken a turn, because we get to add in our rogue levels of damage from being an assassin on that first round sneak attack if they haven't attacked. It's less than the good guy on the first round, but the next round, we'll do 48 plus 14, plus a d8 from a psionic strike, plus 5d6 sneak attack average is going to come out to 40 on that. And so this guy's got a little bit worse Nova round and a little better sustained damage round. He is also ranged and far away. He has better saves and is even more of a skill monkey. It is absolutely insane how good you are with jack of all trades, reliable talent, all the proficiencies and expertise that we get to do. I mean, this is going to be far from like a metagame damage build, but out of combat, our utility is really, really good. And the roleplay potential of this character and the amount of chaos that it would add into a game is just absolutely nuts. I mean, the damage stats are also all with just base gear. I mean, if you've got some adamantine brass knuckles and a couple special guns, that would obviously go up. But the real value of this character is the story that it's going to bring to your table. And, with that bard as an origin, it's fully capable of being the face of the party. Or in this case, both the faces of the party. Well, folks, that's it for this episode of Dragons and Dice. As always, thanks for spending your time with me, and I hope you enjoyed the build-out of Harvey Two-Face Dent for this month's fantasy character build-out. And if you could and have the time, please like, follow, and subscribe, and any comments you can leave will be greatly appreciated. Or better yet, tell a fellow D&D enthusiast about the show, and we'll spread the word of mouth style. Until next time, may your DMs be kind, may your D20s roll high. Bye.